Hi there, my name is David Teeger, and I'm going to show you a little tutorial on how to harvest, plant, and grow on seeds of hostas. In particular for hostas, you have to remember that you will not get the same kind of hosta as the parent plant, as almost all hostas are hybrids and therefore they do not grow true to type from seed. And especially if you have a variegated hosta, one that has a light center or a lighter margin, the offspring will almost always be a solid color. It's about a 1 in 10,000 chance that you would get something other than that. But if you have a hosta that has a particular kind of streaked variegation that's unstable, you can get variegated seedlings from it. So when I talk in this video about having streaked hostas and seeds from streaked hostas, that's what I'm talking about. I'll show some pictures so that you know what streaked hostas look like. I've been growing hostas for over 30 years now, I think, and have been hybridizing for the last 8 or 10 years. I'm very much an amateur at this compared to people who grow tens of thousands of seeds each year. But this should be enough to get you going if you're ever interested in growing hosta seeds. Okay, here's a streaked seedling, and it's time to harvest the pods. If you see the scape here, you can see that it also has streaks on it. It's going to take a while for the camera to refocus here. And then when you get to the pods, you can see the streaks on the pods as well. So these have bloomed at least 6 weeks ago, and they're ready to harvest. So while the pods are still green, I'll label them in a cup like this and put them in here to dry. And now you can see how the pods themselves are rather streaky. So I've harvested a bunch of pods. I'll leave them to dry in these cups until they split open on their own. Okay, so I'm cleaning some hosta seed pods. I've collected them and kept them in these cups for a little while. There's 2 pods here. You can see that this one wants to split into 3 pieces. So it's usually just a matter of pulling these apart. These are open pollinated, so I don't care if the 2 pods mix. And sometimes I'll use a tool. This is just a cake tester, but some little device to scrape the seeds out of the pods. I work on wax paper because it makes cleanup easy, and because actually it gives a little bit of resistance if you go to push the seeds around some. You can sometimes just pull them right out. There's 1 pod. Pull them out or pick them out. A few more here. And you can see some of these in here that have white on the end. Those are probably not going to be good seeds, but I'll just put these back in the cup, let them dry for another week or 2, and then clean them up. So sometimes you'll get a pod that, even though it's fairly dry, hasn't opened up yet. So it's just a matter of pulling it apart into its 3 pieces. So it's worth noting, you can see on this pod how the one that's pointed down at the left has these little black things that might have been seeds in a better life, but they're not going to be good ones. The ones you want are the ones like this that have the full black wing on them. So I've got seeds here from 5 pods from a controlled cross, and I want to clean these. And this is completely optional. Many people just plant these seeds as they are, but I like to know how many there are, and it makes them, for me, easier to plant if there's less of this stuff here. So I just take a bunch in my hand and start to mash them up. Yes, this is messy. So again, working on the waxed paper, because that will help to clean it up. So you can see that it's just turning into powder, but I can feel between my fingers that in the powder are the seeds that I'm looking for. All right, so that's one set of them. I'll dump them onto the wax paper. Try to gather up the rest. Some of these got away. Right, I think I've got them all. So then I just crunch these up the same way. Some people will do this actually by rubbing it in a metal sieve and letting the material fall through. But I often worry about the metal of the sieve scratching the coats of the seeds. This to me seems gentler and safer. All right, so that feels pretty crunched up in there. So I can dump these out. So get everything off my hands, clean this area out of the way. And then usually you can just feel through these things and find seeds. So that's a good seed, that's a good seed. Just kind of by feel. All right, I'll go through this whole set and then afterwards show you what the difference is. Another way you can do this is if you take all of this stuff back up into your hand, you can use gravity to help because the seeds will fall out first. And then when the seeds fall, you push them into the pile, into the good pile. There's a good one. All right. Get rid of the extra. Okay, so after doing that, I've got a pile over here that's pretty clean with just good seeds. They're really easy to feel under your fingertips, whereas everything in this pile here is just sort of flat dust. All right, so then I can count these out, put them into an envelope, and they are ready to plant, or you can store them in your freezer.